What's up, Metal Summoners? We are so happy to have you guys. Thank you, as always, for tuning in and dropping down on your island of misfit toys with all of us. We've got Angel Alamo. We've got the real Psycho Steve. We will have the Empress Bobby Dreyer. And thank you guys, as always, for kicking off your weekend right smack in the middle of the week to get everything going. We are super stoked to have another live episode of the Metal Summit, and we are going to kick it over to our guests very, very shortly. But we have a couple of announcements that we're going to go through, just a couple of things to brief all of you guys on. So we're actually going to kick it over to said real Psycho Steve, who's going to bring you guys up to date on the goings on in the Metal Summit camp, as well as anything else that is just kind of going on. So, Psycho Steve, man, the floor is all yours, my good dude. How are you this evening?
I'm sitting on a rainbow. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Angel, you doing good, brother?
Oh, yes. Awesome.
Awesome. Right on.
Robby, always a pleasure to see you both. So, okay. So, we've been doing this journey called the Metal Summit for almost 3 years, and it's been amazing. And I've been really thinking about this for a very long time, and it's nothing against you guys. It's not you. It's me. I've had some issues with some things with family come up, and then a couple other personal things. So for tonight, I'm not saying goodbye. I am saying until we meet again. I need to step down and take a little hiatus and take care of shit for my family.
Of course.
And I love you all with every fiber of my being. You guys are my brothers to the end. As we always say, from the rave to the grave, to the womb to the tomb. I like Elvis said, taking care of business. And I got to take care of some business. Because I want to give you guys 100%, and I can't give you my 100% if I can't give my family, other family, I should say, 100%. So This isn't goodbye. This is till we meet again, and I will be back on my chair, on my throne, whatever you want to call it. Being the Hebe you need, the kike you like, the Jew for you, whatever you want to call me, back again. So this isn't forever. This is just for the time being. It's a pregnant pause. So for everybody that has watched, for every guest that we've had on, to the first guest, from having Max as our producer, to having Jason as our producer, having Jamar as our producer, with you three, you two, and Bobby. A blanket thank you to all of you. I love you all, and I will be still promoting the show, no matter if I'm on it or not. And I will still do what I can to, make sure the Metal Summit stays metal.
Absolutely, brother. Nah, no worries, man. Your chair's not going anywhere. But since day one, man, we've always put family first when it comes to this show. So don't even sweat, dude. We've always got you.
And you know what? Life happens. We had the same thing. Something similar happened with Bobby, who needed it to take time away to take care of himself and take care of family. And that's always important. And the four of us, last 3 years, we've always been like family. We've always been there for each other, and good times and bad.
Right on.
Yeah, man.
All right.
No, absolutely, brother.
So I can jump off
community for so long. I hate to hear you're having it. I said you've been a pillar of the metal community for so long. I hate to hear that you're having any trouble in paradise, but hope all is well.
This isn't goodbye. This is just, like I said, till we meet again. And I promise you this, I will be back. That's not a threat. That's a promise.
You could have said it like Arnold Schwarzenegger, dude. You have to put more feeling into it. There you go.
Absolutely. No, 100%. No, we got you, Steve. You never have anything to worry about from us, man. We've got you 100%, man, for sure. Absolutely, man, for sure. So everybody, make sure that you're still supporting Steve in everything that he does, and he's not going anywhere. He will be with us tonight. I'm rocking out, closing out the new year with our guests who we are bringing in. But make sure that you're supporting him on his Psycho Steve Facebook page, on the Real Psycho Steve on Instagram, and as well as on Twitter as well. So always make sure that you're backing up your guys, our brother, and supporting him. So we definitely got Steve. We're definitely aware of the situation, and we are all about family first. But we will have Steve back on with us shortly, and we're going to bring in our friends, we're going to bring in our guests, and we're going to have a little bit of fun to celebrate New Year's, coming to us live as they prepare to hang out. And Robby will be going on live with Jack Russell's Great White live tonight from the Whiskey A Go-Go. But we have both of them on our little stage right now, and we have got Jesse Snider, we have got Robby Lochner, we have got DILF USA. How are you, gentlemen? And thank you so much.
Excellent, Smithers.
It's been a great Christmas, man. Countdown to Christmas is playing on like 4 dozen radio stations across the country, and my personal dream was that it was going to play on on New York radio for my kids to hear, which I blew it. I had a time when it was going to be playing, and I literally missed my little window of when I knew it was going to be on. But it's still, we're getting played all over, and it's been great. The reaction to the video has been incredible, and we've just been doing more and more. This is our second video, our second single, and we're a one-part cover band playing largely out in Los Angeles right now, and one-part originals band. But making these videos has been so fun, and the reaction from people has just made it all worthwhile. Because when we did this, we set out to do something that was going to be lighthearted, not so self-serious. In Los Angeles especially, it's just so much of the music community is just a bit up their own ass and a little personally offended that they're not more famous than they should be. And we were just man, let's just do something fun. Let's remember why we became musicians in the first place, and that's because we wanted to have a good time with our friends. So, that's really been the big thing too. I filled in for Jack for we play
Canyon clubs.
Yeah, a couple Canyon Club gigs, and we just had such a great time playing together. Robby in particular. At first, I wanted to call the band the Flying Monkeys because this mother effer is just bouncing around like a wild man on stage, and I usually have such a hard time getting people that can match my energy. And not only could Robby and Dan, match my energy completely, but they're just so tight, such great musicians. So it's just so much fun to play with them and to know that nothing will be out of place whenever we show up.
Or everything will be out of place. Everything will get knocked out of place.
He's a little bit like a cat.
Absolutely. He'll take a look at something and just be like, it's in my way. No, please, Robby, please don't. Robby, please don't knock that over and break it. Okay, yeah, no problem. So counter. Exactly. Just gives you just the look. And so talk a little bit about Countdown to Christmas and the video. So we've listened to it here on the Metal Summit. We've seen the music video, and we were talking a little bit off the air, Jesse, about about just the fun and flirtiness of it and enjoying it. But talk a little bit about how the actual video came about and how you guys set it up and how you kind of wanted to design it, because it's got this fun kind of black metal corpse paint vibe right off the bat.
Well, I'll let you start maybe talking about the song, and then I'll take over for the video.
Okay, yeah. Song-wise, it was something that Jesse had played to me when we first met a year ago, and I go, "This is pretty cool." He played a bunch of songs, 30 of them actually, sang them to me. And then after that, he said, "I got a bunch more," and I was going, "Okay."
And air drumming on the chest.
And then he mentioned a Christmas song. I go, "Yeah, that sounds cool. I've always wanted to do a Christmas song." So he sang it, and I thought, "This is great. Let me mess with it," and I did. But it sat for a year, and then here comes September, October, whenever it was. I thought, hey, we got to get this thing out, and so then we just took it upon it, to work the tune up, and it just came together really fast. I was on the road a lot with Jack, so every week during the week I'd be working on the song what I could, and then I'd be gone on the weekend, and I'd be listening to it and going, okay, it needs piano, it needs this, whatever, and just kind of pieced it together. But he came in and did the vocals really to just a clean guitar. That was it. He sang all the vocals, and we kept them. Those are the same vocals that were on basically almost like the demo version musically, and then just kind of orchestrated everything else around it.
It was an amazing surprise for me because, like, I wrote that song 5 years ago now, and it was a little love letter to my mom and and my family we've always done an insane Christmas, like just especially just the decorations really early. Early in the month, just around December 1st, everything would get decked out for Christmas. And that, song was meant to kind of be a present for them. I tried to record it myself a couple years in a row, but like I'd always just, things would fall through. I wouldn't be able to do it because it costs a lot of money if you try to pay a bunch of people to record something that's just a little present for your family. And I finally, when he sent me the track and I was like, oh my God, this is actually done. I sort of blew my mind. And me and my girlfriend Julie, we had just finished producing our first music video for our song "Shit the Bed." Which, if you haven't seen "Shit the Bed," it's really a funny song. It'll give you a much better impression of kind of what our bass line is, which is really hard hitting, raucous punk metal. And we had just finished that video. It went really successfully. And I quickly kind of came up with an idea for what we should do. And my girlfriend, Julie, she wrote and produced the whole thing. And actually, we ended up throwing my ideas out the window as we got better ideas and focused on those. So we spent a month as we were finessing, after we finished finessing the track, going to friends' houses and fans of the band's houses, because we put the word out that anybody wanted to participate, and we got a lot of people back. So we drove around and we just filmed like 2 or 3 people a night for a month. And then we shot all of the band stuff in one day with our crew, basically the same crew that we used for the Shit the Bed video, and pounded it out. My buddy who did the coloring for the previous video did the editing. I didn't actually know. He's one of my best friends. I didn't know that he was an award-winning editor. And I was basically talking to him that we need an editor. And he went, "Are you trying to like low-key ask me to edit your video?" And I was like, "Is that you edit? Is that, I don't know that you did that." And as it turned out, yeah, he does that, and he does it amazing. So it was just really a storm of talent, and down to even like fans of ours, like our fan Kerr, who early in the video gives us like this really fabulous gay look towards the camera. And we have more footage of him hitting on the band as we're, corpse paint caroling through neighborhoods. And it just, so many people gave us so much great material. And then I think the band came together and did an awesome job. Like Robby shows up with these little bottle cap glasses on, like Ralphie from A Christmas Story. And, that was it. It's just really, it all came together like magic. And then the reaction's been really magical. So I'm just very grateful.
Absolutely, 100%. When it comes to like the band itself, also now that we are wrapping up 2022 in 3 days and moving into 2023, what are your current plans? Of course, both of you have your other gigs that you do and multiple other things that you have, your lots of different cookie jars that you guys have your hands in, whether it be Jack, Jesse, your material, your writing and performing as well, in all kinds of aspects of the stage. What can you tell us would be the current plans for DILF going into 2023?
Complete universal domination.
Domination!
Yes.
Well, we actually, there's some really cool stuff going on. We're almost finished with a mashup cover song that we've been doing in the clubs, and it's the most fun thing that we do so far. We do a lot of really kind of interesting things. We try to make sure that we're playing some things that maybe you've never heard a band play in the clubs before. And one of them that our bass player Dan had brought to us that we just thought was such a great idea was doing this mashup of Two Live Crew's "We Want Some Pussy" to TNT by AC/DC.
Oh my God, that sounds awesome.
It's amazing. And we've been doing it live for a while, and everybody just loves it when we break it out. And we were like, we got to record this before somebody else gets the bright idea to do it. So we started laying it out, and it's really been a lot of finesse to get it exactly right. But we finally finished it and actually sent it off to Two Live Crew a few weeks ago, and they are interested in maybe helping us to finish bringing it to life. So whether they want to participate or not, that'll be our next challenge, our next video, our next release. And right now we're trying to see if we can work things out so that they'd be happy to lend their voices to the track as well, which will be really, really cool if we can make that happen. Because that was like, it was a little bit of like a pipe dream. And then Dan's like, I got the phone number for the manager. So the fact that we heard back from them and they liked it, and now it's just a matter of like working out some details, hopefully. But that's going to be the next one. And then we also were just in the studio working on a ton of originals, and we've got like half a dozen that we're sitting on. So we're going to be recording a whole bunch and then just kind of picking our battles. We've had a little bit of this idea to try to be timely as like South Park is. We want to be having a conversation with the music audience, and there's things going on all the time. Our first video, Shit in Bed, is about what was happening between Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. And that as an inspiration, right now everybody's talking about this and everybody's, commenting. If we could chime in with a song that was appropriate and fun to hear and be a part of that conversation, we thought that would be a really worthwhile thing to do and play to, the fun times that we're trying to create with the band. If you come down to a DILF show, you'll see it's just a lot of fun.
Absolutely, for sure, 100%. And I always thought that was like, super cool, super duper cool. And I love the idea of that, where now we just continue these potential, like, just bitch and mashup traditions. So we had, Run DMC and Aerosmith, and we had, Think Brain, Anthrax, and Public Enemy, and now we've got DILF and Two Live Crew.
Yeah, it's really going to be a lot of fun, and we've got a lot more stuff like that that we have planned. Each one of us brings their own skills to the party, and where I'm Mr. Melody Anthem guy, and Robby's Mr. Production Dynamo. Dan, he's got such a great ear for mashups and sort of adjusting and appropriating certain songs. There's a lot of tunes that we're working, like we're going to be doing In the Club in the new year by 50 Cent, but a real heavy ass fucking version of it, and just translating these things to make them our own, and picking the right things that would be really fun to hear that way. We're working on a parody of, what's the one that we're doing, the I'm a DILF, I'm a father.
Oh, yeah.
I was I'm a bitch, I'm a mother.
Oh, Meredith.
Meredith.
So we're just,
I remember that song.
we're having a fun time.
Hey, you know what? Do a male version of it.
Yeah, exactly. So we're just gonna do, like, we're going where we're smiling. If it's making us laugh, if we're in the studio and we're having a good time, that's what we want to do. We just want to. Somebody compared it to some of these 90s bands that were going on. There was a lot of humor that was built into the music that was coming out in the 90s, like bands like Green Jelly and even bands like The Offspring and stuff, who were always kind of like doing like a split version. If they were saying something was positive, they really meant it was negative. Bringing out the humor. I think there's been a self-serious kick for like the past maybe 20 years now of people just really up their own asses, with the exception of, people like Eminem and like, there's certain groups that have been able to kind of be more fun, but not really in rock. And rock and roll has just gotten more and more serious. It's like even like a band like Green Day, where like, they were like, now we're going to make political commentary on everything. I think like the downfall of creativity has been people being too accessible on social media and telling everybody that they've chosen a side, this side, that side. No, fuck that.
Exactly.
We're in the middle. I love you if you're a Republican. I love you if you're a Democrat. I don't care that much. I don't want you off the planet. I want to make music for everybody. And I really believe that playing to one or the other and demonizing the opposite group is it's such a mistake. And it's a mistake, I've often said this to my father. I'm like, if there's a chance that something that you say that's a little too hard one way or the other might prevent somebody who really needs to hear your words and receive your energy, because he is a really wise guy, and he is, everything, a man should be, or a chivalrous individual on this planet doing things right. I need the bad guys to hear his voice. I need the bad guys to hear his words and feel his energy. And if there's a chance that they might go, nah, I don't want to hear what he has to say. Well, then damn it, we've lost the battle for the soul of the earth. And that's one of the reasons why, I really believe in a sort of a central path. And I think that humor heals all. If we can laugh about all this shit, way, way better than getting super serious and up on our high horses and being all righteous about everything.
Well, and that's been one of the biggest problems for sure, Jesse. And I 100% get where you're coming from, because it's been one of my kind of criticisms a little bit of the rock and metal community is, as bitchin' and inclusive as we are, we get into bad habits of gatekeeping ourselves. And and so I definitely get that when it comes to you, for sure. And it's actually kind of funny when you were talking about like taking like these other songs and doing like rock and metal versions, because a band that I used to do a rocked out just more aggressive, like fun, flirty version of Fire Burning from Sean Kingston.
Oh, nice.
Because I loved putting like heavier guitars on it and like a thicker bass line, just still to have everybody still going, everybody call 911. It's just funny. It's fun. It was just kind of one of those
words. They know those songs. Like there's so many things. It's like, if you're too precious about it and you worry too much, like, how does that make us look? Or how one of the big realizations that I had that we talked about at the time, my girl Julie, she loves when I sing Fight for Your Right to Party. But I would only do Fight for Your Right to Party at karaoke, because I'm a pro, so I don't think anything at karaoke, and I love that song, and I would go and do it. And I've got a New York accent that comes out, especially when I get to do some Fight for Your Right to Party. And she would just be like, "Oh my God, that's so great! You got to do that one." And I was coming back from the first Jack Russell night when we had done it, and I realized that I hadn't done that song. I said no because it wasn't like impressive enough or something, for I wasn't a showcase of my voice. And I'm like, what a fucking prick I'm being exactly like the people that I don't like. I'm like, I'm supposed to be doing the things that are fun and that people want to hear, not up my own ass about like, well, I don't want to be perceived as somebody who does Fight for Your Right to Party. Like, no, that's amazing. Like, that's the song I want to see when I'm at a club. And usually speaking, it's somebody who sucks singing that song because they can't sing anything else. I can sing that song well enough to make it like memorable, so people go, holy crap, did you see? They did Fight for Your Right to Party. It was great. And if that makes somebody's night because I could do a good job doing that, that's what I'm there for. I'm there for the audience. I'm not there to be up my own ass. So, I really think the more we can realize what we're doing, like there's a great book called Wired for Writing, and it changed my whole life because it was just all about what the audience is experiencing when they're reading a book or watching a movie, reading a comic book. Their experience is the most important thing, not your intended experience for them. It's what are they experiencing? And if you can think that way in real practical terms about how might an audience receive this, I think you get the best results. And that's also when the audience doesn't feel disconnected from the performance and disconnected from what's going on, but they feel like, wow, this was made for me. This was done to make me happy. And they're more happy for it.
Absolutely. 100%. Now, before we kick it over to Angel, because we want to bring the fans in, we want to bring questions in from Angel, of course, as well. Why don't you fill everybody in on exactly how your partnership with Robby started?
Robby?
That started with the gigs he filled in for.
Well, actually, here I'll start this because it starts a little bit a second before Robby, which was we're here at the Whiskey where the Ultimate Jam Night was happening a lot. Psycho Steve, me and Psycho have known each other 20-something years. My band, Baptized by Fire, from when I was a teenager, East Coast band, and that's how I met Psycho, and we've been buddies ever since. And Paulie Z, who's another East Coast rocker guy from ZO2. He moved over here around the same time I moved out here because I've made money for my kids as a voiceover actor for a long time. So I moved out here for voiceover work. And, you know, he basically invited me to come down and join up with the Ultimate Jam Night down here eventually at the Whiskey Go-Go. And me and Dan McNay, our bass player, met then. And then when I started dating my girlfriend, Julie, who we've been together for a few years now, Dan called her one day, literally on a day that I was talking to her about quitting music entirely. I was very fed up with a bunch of different things. And I was like, man, I do so many other things. I don't have to do this. You know, I'm supposed to be doing this because I love it. And the love is being sucked out of my face. And I'm like, I'm done. And literally just a couple minutes later, ring, ring, ring. Hey, it's my buddy Dan McNay. He says he knows you from the Jam Night because me and Dan only knew each other a little bit, but they were really good friends. And he said they needed a singer to fill in for Jack for these gigs. Would you do it? And I was like, I just quit. All right, okay. And then you could take it from there.
Yeah, that's when we did the couple nights, and it went pretty well. And then he called, Jesse called me a couple days later, I guess. I don't even remember now exactly how long it was. It's saying, hey, you're talking about all these ideas, doing a cover band to play around the area in our downtime and whatnot. And if it goes well, we'll do original music. So we did a cover gig, and right off the bat, we're like, yeah, this is going good. Let's start looking at doing some original music. So it just kind of happened from there. And it's been a year since that gig. It was a year ago.
Yeah. And a year kind of working around each other's schedules, getting a flow going and whatnot. You know, I mean, I tell you what, these music videos like this way, like these two videos are the best videos that I ever produced. And I never would have done it if not for my girl, Julie, like, because she had all these ideas of like, oh man, you got to get your music out there. And like, I could do it for this song. I could do it for this song. I could do it for this song. So then when this all came into frame, I was like, you know, we were talking about doing a video for my song. What about doing a video for DILF? You know, you think we can get that going? And, you know, and really like she dragged the fucking boat anchor through. And I kind of just went, all right, we can actually do this. We're going to do this. And now it's become, you know, we basically have a production company, and we're being asked to make videos for other people, which is really awesome and a testament to what we've been doing. And then Robby, who's been skills have just been getting better and better and better, growing as a producer, and you know he's producing all of our material. So the timing has been great, but it you know just kind of took a minute for us all to get our rhythm going. So the new year is going to be, as he said, world domination. Universal domination, yes. But lots more gigs and a lot more to come. A lot more originals, more videos, and I'm excited because every single time we've shot anything, it's been fun. It's been fun. It has not been a slag, and a lot of times this shit ends up being a slag, and it has not been like that at all. And I just please let it continue to be so fun because it's been a joy.
That's awesome. And so Jesse, how are you feeling now as opposed to when you quit music?
I feel better. I do. I feel a lot better. And you know, it's so funny. That's happened to me multiple times in my life. Multiple times. I did a reality show called Rock the Cradle a while back, and I literally quit the day I got the phone call. I had spent like 3 weeks explaining to everybody that I make a lot of money as a voiceover actor. I can make music in my spare time. There's just no need for the heartbreak that comes with putting your heart on the line and having things not be as far-reaching as you'd like them to be. And and then ring, ring, ring. Hey, come back. And and after I did that show, I almost quit again because I came in second place, and I was really devastated because I thought I earned the win, even though I know now that was stolen from me. There's nothing real about any of these fucking reality shows. But I was ready to quit again. And then that time, all my friends and family said, "Nope, you're not allowed to quit. You just proved that you do this great. You need to keep doing this. This is what you do." So, it's really almost laughable that I got to that same point again. But again, I just keep having this sort of practical thing happen. When you have that moment of practicality, like, I can do this in my spare time. I don't need an audience. Who gives a shit? I think that was always a thing that bothered me about doing it in the first place, because, when you're the child of a celebrity or rich person, people are they're very rude snap judgers, and they will sort of shorthand for you whatever they think you are. And I have always been about earning it and making sure that I deserve to be wherever I'm at. But this notion that I was out to aggrandize myself, and I thought I was sexy or was trying to steal everybody's fucking girlfriend or whatever. Like, I just couldn't stand that aspersion being cast upon me. I'm a big Jim Henson disciple, which is just a group of weirdo Muppets all being given an opportunity to shine on the stage in their own unique way. And I'm a punk, and I had something that I wanted to say, and I thought I'd been raised sort of with the right mindset. I wanted to continue that voice and that message of personal freedom and freaking standing up for what you believe in to another generation. And for it to be perceived as anything less than me trying to give myself to the audience, give myself to the world in the way that I could, the way that I thought would matter to them, that they would appreciate, and not some sort of like lifting my own ass up for no good reason, that killed me. And it just sort of perpetually made me go, screw this. Like, this isn't why I'm doing it. Like, I'm not doing it for these reasons. And for anybody to perpetually sort of assume that was disheartening. And it wasn't me. It was just the world, the way the world works. The world is just kind of lame and stupid, and we can't help but sort of make assumptions about everybody. And it's just everybody's got their own personal cross to bear and shit that they have to overcome. And now I'm past it, and I don't really give a shit. And I want to have fun, and I have fun doing this. I have fun making music with talented people and performing on stage and letting that energy go. I had to tell my girlfriend, sometimes I'll get like upset in an argument, and I go, I'm sorry if I get upset, and all of a sudden energy's coming out of me. I have so much energy, and when I'm in an argument, I finally feel like I have permission to fucking get it out. And music is how I'm able to get it out. I can go on stage and I can fucking scream my head off, and I can bounce all around. And I used to get it out with football and lacrosse and sports, and I don't do that as much anymore. But with music, I still get the opportunity to let out the energy that I have inside of me. And I got to do it for myself. And as long as I'm doing it for myself, then fuck everybody. I'm just here to have a good time, and I hope that they'll come and join me. And because it's more fun when there's more people.
Absolutely. No, 100%, brother. Angel, it's your time, man. It's the Metal Summoners time. Appreciate your patience, brother. Take it away.
I just want to say, fuck energy drinks. All you got to do is go back to that segment where he talks about the energy, which is much healthier than using any of those. Energy drinks are bad for your health anyway. Just watch this episode of the Metal Summit. Make that your energy drink.
Jesse Snider in a can.
We care about you. See? Look at that.
That's what I should have made our little thing. Dilf USA, Robby, and Jesse Snider in a can.
Yeah, we see. You cannot say the Metal Summit doesn't give a damn. We care about your health.
Yes.
So when you feel like grabbing that fucking energy drink, watch the Metal Summit, especially the part about Jesse. Thank you for sharing that, man. I needed that.
You're very welcome.
Now, we do have some questions. Do you ever plan to go to Canada?
Oh, yeah. I'm going to Canada this year for some comic conventions. My buddy Shane Turgeon, who he put out some great books on Star Wars tattoos. If you're a big Star Wars fan and a tattoo guy, you might have a book of all these awesome Star Wars tattoos. He collected all that shit together, and he runs some stuff out in Edmonton and a couple other places. And the plan for me this year is to sort of do a lot of conventions and set up for Dilf for next year. Like, we're going to be doing a bunch of gigs and we'll be getting that done through a lot of different promoters and people who are going to be booking us. But I want to control our destiny. So I'm going to be going to town for all these comic conventions where I'll have booths and I'll be signing at booths, and I'll have my own table. I'm working for a company called Merc Publishing, which is doing very well on Kickstarter. They've got a book called Miss Meow and Death Rage, and now they're expanding their horizons. My book, Guns and Angels, just got announced a couple of weeks ago. We actually already did our full fundraise in like a first 3 or 4 days of the book. So I'm going to be going around with them, and they're going to be promoting appearances and whatnot. And I'm going to take advantage of my time in all these cities to go find the right clubs that are near the convention. So next year I can come back and be promoting my own books, promote my own band, having concerts on the weekend, and really, again, add to the fun of the convention experience. I'm a big geek. I've been going to conventions forever, and every single time I would do these weekends, I'd be like, the only thing this freaking convention's missing is an awesome concert to go to, with some people who think like me and are catering to me a little bit. So nobody else will do it. I'll do it.
Well, what do you like the most about being a musician?
What do you like most about being a musician? The music. I mean, I don't. Yeah.
For me, it's that Rage Against the Machine is my favorite band of all time, and it's because of the rhythm, just feeling that rhythm. Like you don't get it from. Like I wasn't even that much of a metalhead until I saw Pantera in concert. And Cowboys from Hell, they used to do as their encore. And I remember jumping the freaking barricade, running into the pit for that song. And you just feel it. It's not listening to music, it's feeling music vibrate through your body. And that's the best part, because you got the best seat. I've got the best seat in the crowd. I am in the middle of all the guys, and I get to get the vibration through my body. People have been trying to get me to put earbuds in, clog my ears. I can't. I don't like doing it. I like being in the middle of it and being so fucking loud that it is just, I feel every note in the core of my body. I think that's my favorite thing. I just love to feel the music. And of course, being a child in the womb during freaking, concerts that Twisted Sister was putting on, and I'm kicking up a storm in my mom's belly, and she'll tell you that it's true. And being on her shoulders in the crowd and on the security guys, and like, I grew up with front row seats to rock and roll magic. And if you have not seen Dee Snider and Twisted Sister, particularly, he's amazing by himself, but with Twisted Sister, those guys had an energy together that was just incredible. That came from 10 years of them playing in clubs on Long Island before they finally took off. A lot of people think that they were like a fly-by-night sensation. They were not. They were, children of the 70s, rock, and they held that torch for glam for ages. And then, they were able to sort of ride a wave eventually, but they earned the hell out of where they got, and they became such a well-oiled machine as a live band. They were so tight and so good. And my father's control over an audience is just uncanny, unmatched. There is not a single performer that I've seen, and I've seen 1,000 at least at this point. He could just make an audience do anything. He would slowly win them over, just song after song after song, giving everything that he had to what was being played. He would sell you songs that you didn't fucking like, and by the time they finished playing them live, you'd be like, all right, I'm a Twisted Sister fan. And then once he had you in his hand, he'd have you screaming and throwing your fist and then jumping. I mean, I have seen 5,000 people jump up in the air all at once. Dozens of times, not a single foot still on the ground. Everybody in the fucking crowd jumped because he had them all, and they listened when he said, and now jump. And that energy, the visceral electricity going through a crowd as they all agreed to do the same thing, to be a part of the same party, to be a part of what is happening at this moment. That shit is it's really just priceless, and you can't get it from anything else. You can kind of get it a little bit when it's like a sports event, and like, I mean, if the crowd that you're with is enjoying it the same way. In a movie theater, you can kind of feel it. We're all laughing at the same time, but it's a music event where you really, rock music in particular, where you can get a crowd to be participating all at once in what they're doing, loving a song in such a visceral way that everybody's singing along, everybody's involved. That to me is just, it's magic, and it doesn't exist anywhere else.
No, 100%, Jesse, especially like you said about people thinking that Twisted was this just kind of overnight sensation. That documentary that they did, We Are Twisted Fucking Sister, dude, that rips apart like how much they fucking had to do the club thing.
Thanks for mentioning that. I'm so proud of that video. It's so funny. That documentary and my father's appearance on Cobra Kai warmed my heart so much. For so many years, they have been like shortchanged and sort of treated comically and stupidly, in sort of media where they would show up. And, seeing that documentary, seeing how many people got to watch it, and then seeing him, you know who that is? That's Dee Snider, one of the most badass rock and roll stars of all time. Like, yes, that's who he is. He is the biggest badass in music as far as I'm concerned. And he wrote all of his music. There's a lot of people who claim that they've written their music. They have not. He wrote all the songs that made them famous. He earned that. The band earned what they got so much. And I'm just so grateful to the world that they've gotten their respect over time. Twisted Sister deserves so much props.
They took on Tipper Gore and they won.
Yeah, absolutely.
No one's talking about Tipper Gore.
No,
not anymore.
Or honoring her or whatever the hell else she was looking for. But I mean, the whole thing was silly. I had to have my mom, hey, Mom, can you come to the cashier so I can buy the Guns N' Roses album that has a bunch of cuss words, but I won't tell you?
But the funny thing about that, though, too, we actually talked about this on last week's episode. The thing that made that so hilarious is you put in the forefront about how blasphemous and horrific, rock and metal music is by putting these stamps on these logos on these CDs. Well, all you did was give me a reason to want to go after those records.
Oh yeah, it's so funny to like the reverse effect that had on every on selling rock albums. It's like if you were a rock album and you didn't have a parental advisory, it was like, well, what's wrong with this rock band?
like New Kids on the Block. You never had. It was always safe to buy those crappy albums. I'm just saying, that's all.
Yeah,
you are. Angel, any chance you get to rag on the boy bands, man, you get on it, dude.
It's true. Is there ever a boy band album that had an advisory sticker on it? Because it was safe to buy it.
I don't know. Maybe the Slash Street Boys, if you've ever seen those YouTube videos of that. The Merkins band.
I'll ask my brother. He has a New Kids on the Block album.
My girl's she's been trying to get me to form a heavy metal boy band with some of my handsomer rock and roll friends, like one of my friends, Sean McNay. No, not a boy band, a heavy metal interpretation of some of these.
Well, that means you have to lip sync.
Rock vocalists,
right.
Which I do know, kind of cool.
But if you do that.
Steel Panther did a bitchin' cover of I Want It That Way. They don't need to lip sync.
No, but boy bands, they lip sync. That means he would have to lip sync.
Well, we would have to call it a man band.
Yeah.
There you go. Call it a man band.
We'll debut us at a DILF show. You can have DILF back us up, and we can do a little twirl. That away. Sorry.
Exactly. For sure. Angel, let's kick it back to you for more questions, buddy, and then we'll bring Steve back in.
Let's kick it over to Steve.
Okay, we'll just kick it right down to Steve. Steve, welcome back, my good man. Let's get you involved.
Thank you. Speaking of Twisted Sister, your father, Jesse, I don't know if I told you, there used to be this little record store at a place called The Wiz. It was an electronics store that was a tri-state area place called The Wiz. They carried music. They carried.
Yeah, I remember The Wiz. Nobody beats The Wiz was their tagline.
Exactly.
I gotta go take a whiz.
So, 1982, when Stay Hungry came out, your dad and the boys came to the grand opening of this place called The Wiz in East Brunswick, New Jersey. I'm 12 years old, 9 years old, and I go to The Wiz because also Phil Rizzuto was there as well. I'm a season ticket Yankee fan, and I go and I get in early and I'm looking through all the records, And there's your dad without makeup, with his hair pulled back and everything, sunglasses. And he's like, "How you doing?" I'm like, "Good, man. How you doing?" He's like, "Good." And he's like, and I pulled out a Kiss album. He's like, "You like them?" And I said, "Yeah, they're one of my favorite bands." And he pulls out his album and goes, "What do you think of these guys?" I'm like, "They're pretty good, but they think a little mature, you know?" He's like, he said first time I said, like, "This fucker, isn't he?" I'm like, "Yeah, you could say the least."
You're cutting out a little bit, but I think you were fucking with D.
Yeah.
And he's a good sport about it. It's basically the gist of the thing.
Report about it. And then he goes, "Oh, cool." And like, "Oh, what's your name?" I'm like, he's like, "Cool, nice to meet you, D." And I'm like, "Oh shit, I'm dead." He's like, "Oh, I it's like, "Good to meet you." Like, "Yeah, too." Then of course Eddie came over, and of course Mark came over, and they all came over and started talking. And I still have the album today, all signed and everything. And
Well, that changes your experience so much. I had 311. When 311 came out, I was a 13-year-old in a heavy metal band with a bunch of 16-year-olds. And they were trying to get me to sing like the dude from 311. I didn't sing anything like that. You know, at the time, I was not very versatile. I was just sort of like a screaming punk rocker. And I kind of hated them. And then I became a VJ on MTV2 5-6 years later, and I met 311, and one of the dudes has a Punisher tattoo on his leg, and they were all just the sweetest guys ever. And that was it. Like, they became one of my favorite bands of all time, and I went deep into 311 after that, and that's it. You know, nobody can say shit about 311 now. I'll be like, "Fuck you, they're awesome." You know, so even I was like, I hated them because I literally got like kicked out of this band. It was really just because I was a 13-year-old and they were 16 and they were trying to do, you know, more adult shit than I couldn't do yet. But like, you know, you can overcome anybody's preconceptions about you by being cool. And Twisted Sister is definitely one of the coolest bands all around.
So the question I have to ask is, because you're a dad, I'm a dad. Your dad is one of the most recognizable and well-respected and hated at the same time people in rock metal today, because your dad speaks the truth. There's no filter with your dad. That's what I've always loved and respect about your dad. And you that perfect dad. The question I have for you, back to school now, or
Robby, I think you got to turn down your volume. Okay, cool.
Hold on. Okay.
It's on the cruise ship. So.
Did your dad or did your mom go to like PTA meetings, or did your dad go and people?
Oh yeah, my father was famous. I mean, I've picked up the torch, but he was famous for kind of blowing away all my teachers with well-written letters. He was rather strict on a lot of levels. You know, for the Snider family, personal expression was always on the table, but you were expected to get your shit done and be a functioning member of society. You know, we were raised completely straight edge. I didn't smoke, drink, anything until I was 28 years old. And I only even started to drink socially because it was holding me back in business, in like as a writer, as a comic book writer. The fact that I didn't drink and wasn't like the drinking buddy of different editors was kind of a problem for me. So I started to become like a little bit of a social drinker so that I could just kind of blend in a little bit better. But I mean, we were all raised straight edge. You know, that drugs and alcohol weaken you. Don't fucking do them. You want to have your wits about you. You know, like people used to think my father was on drugs all the time. You know, people would accuse me of the same kind of shit. Like when I came out to Los Angeles, like stupid rumors about me would fly. I'm like, it's because I have so much energy, not because I'm actually doing anything. I don't need drugs to have a good time. And that was always the thing that, you know, was really instilled with us, you know, with my father, was like, there's a lot of ways to have a good time, and you don't need to fucking get wasted in order to do that. In fact, you'll have a lot better time doing it not wasted, because you'll be able to go all night long and you won't fall down and crack open your skull.
Right. Awesome. I was the same way, because my parents were straight edge and everything like that. I've never touched a drug in my life, and people are like, "Really?" I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, look at me now. Imagine.
I only ever like smoke. I started smoking weed a little bit for a while because I had a really crazy anxiety, and I didn't know about it. Like it was a medicinal thing. I needed help figuring out how to calm down, and I didn't like taking pharmaceutical drugs. So I mean, like I had seen the merit of that, of what I was taught, and I carried it through and passed it on to my children. It's really wise words, wise advice.
Thank you. Okay. Wow. Okay. So I wasn't sure, like, because being dad, I'm being dad. My dad was somewhat into business back in the day, and then your dad being the way he is on stage, off stage. I wasn't sure how he was, like, when he came to like a, teacher, like when he said, "Oh, guess what? Guess he did something this in school." He would come to the principal's office or anything like that.
Well, here I'll tell you this. I mean, like, at the end of the day, he was basically a typical parent. But in the non-typical front, when I was in second grade, first grade, I had a problem with a kid who was hitting me all the time, and I'm a pretty nice guy. I'm like my first choice is not violence. I'm an athlete, but like that's competition. I like competition, but I'm not particularly violent. So I was just sort of allowing it to happen. And my father had seen a couple times me getting hit. And at the time, I really wanted, it was a Nintendo was out, and there was Super Mario Brothers 2. And my dad said, the next time he touches you, if you punch him in the face, I will buy you Super Mario 2. The teacher is going to get upset, probably going to send you to the principal's office. I will come down. I will say that I'm very disappointed in you. And then I will put you in the car, and I will take you straight to Toys R Us, and I will buy you the video game. And I went, well, okay. And later that next day, I socked that kid right in the face, and I got my video game. So that's the rock star coming out of the parent there.
Nice.
I gotta piggyback off this real quick. So in plenty of the interviews that Dee did about the Tipper Gore situation, he specifically spoke about how he showed up, and the footage is right there to show how he showed up in anything but a suit in front of all those people. When he showed up for any kind of functions like that, was he still like jeans and t-shirted out?
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm very big on that too. I think freaking dress clothes are a tool of the man, and I don't use them as often as possible. And he always considered himself a dirtbag. But that there was nothing wrong with being a dirtbag, and that was just bullshit that was being put upon people who were at the time considered on the fringe of society. And so I mean that was a thing. But that whole plan of like him walking in and pulling out the piece of paper. There's a man who you can see sitting next to him in the video footage. A New York Jew, Joe Gerber, who was stage manager for our band, for Twisted Sister, stage manager for Twisted Sister for years, and he helped my father write that speech and prepared exactly what they were going to do, how they were going to go down. And Joe managed me for a little while, managed Baptized by Fire, my band when me and Psycho met back in the day. Joe is a really smart, shrewd guy. And they concocted that thing together. And I know he's responsible for some of the brilliance that went on there. And they've been friends for a long time, and that whole plan was orchestrated with great thought. That wasn't like and here I am showing, like that was the plan. The plan was, I'm going to trick these motherfuckers into thinking that they're dealing with a dirtbag, and then I'm going to wallop them with the truth.
No, for sure. Definitely. Hey, Bobby, let's get you involved, buddy. Let's check your connection, and let's get you in on some of the fun, dude.
So, hey, Jesse, so I got to tell you, 2007, you opened up for me in New Jersey.
Yeah, I think I remember that.
Yeah, I was with Power Theory and everything. And wait a second. So look, I'm good friends with everybody in the band, your dad and everything. And you guys came in late and screwed me.
Oh yeah, great. Thanks for bringing
You're
it.
like, oh. That's all right.
Good icebreaker,
Hey,
Bobby.
look,
Thanks, Bobby.
look, it was. So I got to ask you. Let's go back to the magazine and everything
I think you're
else.
perfectly capable of
Fangoria.
yourself.
Fangoria, what are you doing now? What are you doing with the mag?
Fangoria. Well, Fangoria, I was writing comics for them. They were my second work. I was working at Marvel back in the day. Now I'm working for a company called Merck Publishing, and they are making a lot of money on Kickstarter, doing everything independently. Merck Comics, like, they do cheesecake shit, big tits and action and stuff like that. But one of my best friends, Aaron Sparrow, who used to write the Darkwing comic books and was the editor for all of the Disney and Muppet comic books that Boom Studios put out when I was working for them. I became best friends. And so when he brought over to the new company, I was one of the first people that he brought in to come work for Merck. So this next year, there's going to be a lot of stuff coming out from me, from Merck. And then my book, King of Kings, which I've been putting together with friends of mine for a bunch of years, that's going to be fun, coming out on Kickstarter later this year.
So it's funny you bring up the whole Disney thing. So right now, I'm on a Disney cruise. I'm landing in Cozumel tomorrow. So as you can hear and see, I'm like the Disney princess right now. So, yeah. And it's funny you brought that up. But what's that?
I mean, I love Disney, but I thought this was the metal.
Oh, dude. Wait, dude, I am the biggest Disney. Look, that's why these guys brought me on. They needed a princess.
All right. Yeah, I have
Let it go.
tattooed on my body.
You? So do I.
Hey, see? I turned a couple birthmarks into some.
Nice.
Yeah. But look, I gotta say, everything with your dad and everything with the band, but you guys are amazing. I mean, I loved your first band back in 2008 when we were playing back then, when you were coming out. But you changed the course right now. You did a couple different things. So let's talk about the band now. What made you do that 180?
Well, we were talking about this for a little bit earlier, but to get into a little bit more detail, I mean, really, the thing that my father taught me the most when I was young was comedy. He introduced me to the Marx Brothers and Monty Python and Mel Brooks, and like, I love and have worshipped comedy. And I actually think that studying comedy and comedians has made me a really great songwriter, because there's a lyricality to the way things are said and the way people communicate. And the thing that I realized was that the fun of music, being a professional musician, it was being ripped out of everything that I did, and everything was not as fun as it should have been, especially as I got older and I had, kids to feed and whatnot. So for me, the whole idea behind Dilf USA was to do something that would be fun and could be funny, and it wouldn't be ridiculous if we, were doing a song called Shit the Bed. We've got some songs coming out, called MILF on a Dilf, and there's a song called There's a Hole that we're working on I'll give you a little preview. It goes, there's a hole in your soul, gonna fill it with my dick. Just the tip, little bit. Gonna love it when it hits. There's a hole in your soul. Oh, gonna fill it with my dick. So to be able to do a song like that, I could never do that before. Everything was more serious, and I was seriously trying to help the world and help rock and roll and all this shit. And I meant it. I meant it completely. But I just got so tired of all the self-seriousness, especially in rock and roll. And I said, you know what? the thing that makes me the happiest is to laugh and to tell jokes and have a good time. And that's what I do on stage in between songs anyway. So for me, I just went, fuck this, new approach. Let's make everybody laugh. Let's have a good time. I think everybody has lost sight of what rock and roll is supposed to do for us. It's supposed to give us an outlet for our energy, all this repressed energy that we have in all of our shitty jobs. Like rock and roll, then we get to go and have a good time off steam.
For sure.
That's awesome. So as you can see right now, I'm with Mickey, and I'm getting the photographer wants a shot. So we're like, look, hey, see, we're with Mickey, and we're getting a shot with this. But Jess, I love it.
Thank you, sir.
Absolutely.
Oh,
yeah.
And the big thing about it is, look, the four of us never took anything serious.
No.
Angel, how many? What are we at? 154 episodes.
Yep, 154,000. No, I'm just playing. 154.
Hell yeah, absolutely.
And look at me. I'm getting ready to come up here to get a photo with the Disney princess.
Right on. But Angel, let's kick it back over to you, man. How are the Metal Summoners doing? Do we have some questions from the Summoners?
Just a lot of love.
Jay, you know you always do that shit, Angel. You know, let's give it to Bobby, and then Angel, we screw him up.
Pretty much.
I'm used to that by now.
Nah, it's all good.
Now, I see one. Somebody said, "Who would you like to collaborate with?"
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. Well, I mean, for me right now, it's just about getting 2 Live Crew on the hook so we could do We Want Some Pussy with them. We've already got it all recorded. It sounds great. I'm so proud of it. We're doing like much more of like a sung version of the rap, and it would be great to get them in just in the low end.
Mm-hmm.
Just like that's my dream right now. You know, I'll shoot for another fence in the future. But you know, I mean, that's a really big one for me. I mean, honestly though, you know, Dexter Holland of The Offspring and Rage Against the Machine, those are the two bands. Those are my 2 loves in music. The 2 groups that I respect for what they stand for. There's a lot of bands that I like, but I don't necessarily care about what they stand for. You know, it doesn't necessarily mean anything to me, either because they don't really stand for anything in particular, or you know, or I don't really actively like. I don't really like what Marilyn Manson stands for, but I'm a huge Marilyn Manson fan. But I'm an old school fan from from Portrait of American Family. You know, I've been a fan of theirs for a really long time. But I like their music, and I like what I can learn from their music. The Rage Against the Machine, I really appreciate what they stand for, and I stand for a lot of similar things. Dexter Holland, he is a mind. He is a brain, and you can hear it in every lyric, in all his choices, in his interviews. I remember the best Dexter Holland interview when they said they're calling the next album Chinese Democracy before Guns N' Roses had released the album. And the quote was, "You snooze, you lose."
I remember that.
Yeah, I remember that because he also said, hey, because Axl Rose stole my braids, I'm going to steal his album title.
Yes. You remember another part of it. Yeah. So, like, those are the people that I respect the most. You know, Dee Snider is an intellect. And that's what I'm looking for in the music that I appreciate the most. And that's the type of music that I've tried to make, which I think for my approach when I was younger was a little bit self-serious mixed with a lot of fucking energy and id. But I mean, but even then, you know, we used to do a cover of Manitoba's Wild Kingdom's "The Party Starts Now," because to my mind, there were all these simple songs that people were shortchanging as not being good enough. You know, wasn't smart enough, wasn't whatever. I'm like, there's something very simple here. This is energy. This is id. Id is smart. You know, this is what we really want from the rock and roll. Why do we have to dress it up and be all highfalutin about it? It's really about the energy that you're bringing to the song and say what you mean. If it's "The Party Starts Now," then perfect. Those are the lyrics. Let's do it. So I like that. And I really kind of went away from being a really serious songwriter because I started out as a punk. I got really pissed off that the industry was falling apart at the time. Baptized by Fire was coming up. You know, just all my favorite bands were being freaking dropped from their label, and the deals that were being offered to people were really shit. So for like 10 years, I went behind the scenes and I was writing songs with anybody that I could for behind the scenes, for films, for TV, things like that. And I did a lot of that for a while, a lot more poppy stuff. And then I finally went back to my roots, taking my storytelling chops and putting them to music and writing things that told a story and that were rare. But we, have come full circle to get to the comedy once again, to get to the fun, to get to the party. And really, that's what it's all about as far as I'm concerned. I'm tired of bands that aren't having a good time on stage singing about how sad they are. I really want to be a part of a music scene that's more uplifting.
Absolutely, 100%. So I wanted to steer a question. The screen's got.
I got to start to wrap this up because I got to give back the backstage area to Jack Russell's Great White. We've been doing our interview back here, so if we can just bring it to a close.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Is Robby still with us, or is he starting to get ready?
Yeah, sorry, I had to run off and do some business stuff.
No, of course, man, totally.
It's all right.
I wanted to steer a little bit straight to you, Robby, to talk a little bit about just other stuff that you're involved in, because, like, for example, like, I love your solo album, your Robby Lochner album, man. I think it's so good. It's so clean, and I love your playing, and I loved your musicianship and how you crafted those songs. So I wanted to put a little bit of this interview onto you, specifically to you, about what you're doing for any kind of follow-up music writing, because of course everything you've done with Jack is fantastic. With the He Saw It Coming album is still so well received. But talk a little bit about you and what you're doing currently with your music.
I'm still doing solo stuff. I am, but I just I put some of it on the back burner because the guilt thing is really taking precedence. I like the idea of a band and like the solo thing, and I really only started doing the solo thing because I didn't have an outlet for music that I was writing, and so I continue to do it, and I have songs and videos that are ready to drop, and I'm kind of trying to top them, just singles, trying to drop them in between whatever is going on. You know what I mean? So I don't want to be like, oh, they'll put out a video, now I'm going to put one right on it. It doesn't make any sense.
Well, it could be complimentary, I'm trying to do the same thing.
Yeah, so it's space it in between. Okay, that's out, and then okay, now I'll drop this, and I do have songs that are close to being done. I have 2 of them that I have videos for that are just about done. They're about edited and everything. But then I've got several other songs that are sitting there almost done that I have to finish up some vocals and a few things on, and song ideas that are just floating around. So I have that, and there's a country, heavy country band that I have that's got some tracks, but it's kind of been pushed back a little bit as well too. But that'll come out eventually once, it's just got to be some time to do that. So my focus has been really on getting the Dilf thing. If there's something coming up, boom, I'm going to do it because it moves fast. We tend to move quick, and I like that it doesn't sit and go, okay, well, we got to get the lyrics done or whatever it is, We move quick. You guys move lyrics fast, so I like that. So we're able to churn stuff out very quickly, and to me, that's like the coolest thing you can possibly have.
Yeah, no, he's right. I got to back him up on that too. Like for me, it's always been a frustration of being able to get things done quickly. And like, for energy, because I had the energy with all the dragging. But like, Robby's like, here it is back. And I'm like, oh, okay, here, back to you. And when you have that sort of back and forth, things get done, things happen, and you're off to the races.
Absolutely, for sure. Bobby, let's kick it over to you real quick, and then we'll kick it up to Angel, and I'll kick it to Steve if he returns, because we want to respect the time, and we want to give Jesse and Robby all the time that they need. So, Bobby, go ahead, brother.
Okay, first thing first, I just want to thank Steve. Love you. Thank you. You're always going to be part of the Core 4. We're always here. Love you. Thank you so much. And as you can see, we're here on the Disney cruise. I'm in Rapunzel, And Jesse, Thank you so much. You know, look, you guys, I love that you guys are doing the whole thing tonight, and the band. But Happy New Year. Give your dad a hug for us. You know, your whole family.
Thank you,
Peace
brother.
out,
Happy
man.
New Year.
Hell yeah, absolutely, brother. Bobby, appreciate you, buddy. You totally rock, my guy. Angel, has anything popped up from the Metal Summoners?
If you're in a time machine, where are you going?
To tomorrow, my friend. To tomorrow.
Nice.
1977.
I want to go see some dinosaurs, I think.
I'm gonna go to 1977 and rock out
Oh, nice.
with with the skills of today in the year of yesterday.
All right, brother. We got to feed ourselves.
No,
All right,
totally.
cool. Yeah,
Absolutely,
definitely.
for sure. Totally. Jesse, Robbie, congratulations and continued success with Dilfa USA. Guys, make sure that you're supporting them, checking out the Christmas song and the Christmas video. It's fantastic. It's awesome. Like I said at the beginning of the interview, we watched it with the Metal Summit. We think it's fantastic, and we know that you guys are going to love it. Get some food. Robbie, have a fantastic show tonight with Jack. You know, and also we've had James from the Raskins on the show as well before. So a little bit of love out to James. And because he's got a set tonight as well with them. But you guys get a little bit of food. But Steve, since you popped back in on, Steve, why don't you close us out tonight, man?
Well, Robbie, Jesse, thank you for joining us. We can't wait to you guys come in full circle. Besides singles and that full-length album, we would love to a tour or some shows on the East Coast. East Coast guys, Robbie, the last time I saw you was the MSF show at the winery in Pennsylvania. I don't know.
Oh yeah. Yep.
So, and Jesse, the last time I saw you, you and I went to New Brunswick. So, are wanted.
Be good, man. Love for your family. I hope everything gets better.
I appreciate that.
All right.
Absolutely.
You gotta go.
Sure.
See
Yeah,
you guys.
absolutely. Dilf USA on Facebook, and catch the guys on all of their social medias. Best of love to you guys. Get some food. Robbie, good luck tonight, man.
Thanks, man.
Absolutely. Metal Summoners, thank you guys so much. We appreciate everything that you guys have frankly given us. Steve, you're our boy, man. You know we got you, dude. Anytime you want to just pop in through this time, you know you don't even need to ask. You just pop right on in, dude. But again, like we discussed at the top of the show, brother, family first. It's always been that way. It's always going to continue to be that way, dude. And we want you to know that no matter what, man, we got you.
Same here. So, Metal Summoners, thank you all for watching. Please keep subscribing and Metal Summit. These guys are family, and just keep watching and supporting them. That's all I ask. And go out to the local shows. If you can't make it to the show, share the page of the artist, buy their merch, comment on their page. Just support the locals, because the locals become the regionals sometimes, and sometimes the regionals become the nationals. And let's just support shows like this. Jay's other venture, Angel's other venture, Bobby's other venture. Eventually, when I get my ass together and do something else, let's just support each other. That's what this is all about. Bringing us together, because we all have the same passion and love for each other, but for the music.
Yeah.
And just do it for them and for ourselves, and live long and prosper.
Absolutely, brother, for sure. And Steve, for people that do want to keep up with you while you're away, remind everybody where you can be found on your socials.
Okay, so my TikTok, my Instagram are the same, the_real_psycho_Steve. So it's the Real Psycho Steve for TikTok and Instagram. It's just Real Psycho Steve on Twitter. And on here, it's either facebook.com/Psycho Steve. And then there's also just my personal page, Steve Prestup. You can Facebook message me. You can Insta message me. You can call me. Just make sure it's not really late at night because, I do have a day job. And then just text me because I text like a 13-year-old girl. So it's easier to text me than call me. Exactly. I know Bobby's not here, but I'll say it. You three, I love you both, all three of you. And this isn't it. This is just a pause.
Absolutely, dude.
Right.
No
I
worries.
mean, you know what? Things happen where at times, life happens where you just have to take a break, take a pause. We've all been through stuff in the last few years. And, one thing I can say is that, people see us here, but behind the scenes, look, we've always been there for each other. We're always a
Right.
phone call away. And plus, I'm
Yeah.
always by Steve's house anyway. So
Yes.
I just work in that area as well.
That.
Absolutely.
Looking in the windows, Angel. So I will tell Joanne. So just like.
Oh, great. That's big. I'm a stalker.
Absolutely. But totally, man. But Steve, we love you, dude. And we're going to continue to have a little bit more fun in the future, man. No worries, man.
Absolutely.
Hell yeah, absolutely. Metal Summoners, we love you guys. Guest announcement will be later this week. We're actually going to be bringing back a previous guest that we were having some issues with. So that is your hint. See if you can figure it out. But as always, guest announcement will come at the end of the week for next week's, again, live, brand new episode of the Metal Summit. We are very excited to talk to this guest, personal friend of mine, and also a friend of the show. And we are really looking forward to having them back on. So it's going to be great. But again, show some love and support to Psycho Steve and thank him for everything that he's given and everything that he will continue to give to us when he returns. Again, love as always to Angel and to Bobby. And we want to thank, on behalf of the Dilf USA band, we want to thank Robby Lochner and Jesse Snider for taking time out of their evening to hang out with us, share funny stories, and just rock out and give us some of that energy in a can. So thank you guys so much. Angel, you rock, brother. Appreciate you as always, man.
Well, appreciate you too, man.
We love you guys. We will see you guys in a week. Have a great weekend. Be good to each other.
And Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, guys. We will see you guys next year
In
for a brand
2023.
new episode of the Metal Summit. Horns up, fangs out. As always, you guys have been watching the Metal Summit.